Good evening for participants in Korea. And good afternoon for those in the Nordic countries. Welcome to 2020 Korea-Nordic Connection Salon, held under the theme of arts discovering ideas. In performing art, moderating the and I will be moderating the event. To briefly introduce about the program today, the Korea-Nordic Connection Program started in 2007 and has been organized under the collaboration of Korea Arts Management Service, the Union of Nordic Partners, which includes performing arts. Today we artists from the two regions to introduce their projects that bring in technology and expression. And we hope to discover the diverse varieties of attitudes, approaches, and thoughts underlying your practice. We will first listen to the pitches of the artists, followed by a brief discussion. The first three artists to present their projects are Jan and Sigrid and Tech. I will give the floor first to
Okay. Okay, good evening. Of course, good afternoon. I'm Yoon Kyung-bae, who is currently in charge of research at HUASIS. It is an honor to present my work at the PALM's Korea-Nordic Connection Salon. The title to be announced is Digital Experience Content for Children to Help Understand the Spatial Concept. In today's presentation, I would like to first introduce case of digital experience content that I participated in as a senior researcher in 2013. This content case was conducted especially for children aged 8 to 10 who are learning the concept of space, and it is a complex content that combines stories, play, and experiences. Through the case I've worked on, I will identify where arts and technology for children meet and explain why and what role the technology was applied to. And from my experience, I would like to carefully suggest some ideas to consider when applying technology to children's content or performance. Children embrace the performance with all senses. They instantly act on what they see, actively express their feelings as the most honest audience in the performance. As I mentioned, projects such as Jump in Blue, Space Traveler, and Finding Lost Relic in the Sea were conducted for children aged 8 to 10 who started learning abstract concepts such as plane, solid, space, and virtual space. The project involved art education experts from an early stage and took place step by step in a similar format. The total time for the project was about 90 minutes, including experiential activities. For the story concept, space was divided into 4 sections. According to the flow of the story, the teacher or actor conducted drawings and media experience together. As you can see in the photo at the bottom left, the entire gallery space was divided into 4 zones, and from the entrance, it was composed of contents that fit the concept of the sky, water, underwater, and the deep sea. After about 10 children had passports to travel through the spaces and experience content with teachers or actors in each area. These are pictures of imagination and creative activities in some areas. As you can see in these pictures, some of the picture came out dark, so I don't know if you can see what they are doing. Various technology were applied according to each zone theme. The technology such as real-time projection mapping, sound visualization using sound sensor, and motion capture using Kinect was used to help understand the rather difficult spatial concept for children. In a space with a story, physical activities such as drawing on flat paper and folding to create a three-dimensional structure stimulated the children's imagination. In this project, technology was being used as an effective means to respond immediately to children's imagination and expand their expression range. This project gathered experts from various fields, including education, media, and performing arts. Experts in each field needed to understand the audience's characteristics, such as physical and behavior developmental stage, cognitive and learning abilities, which are very different from the adult audience. And after organizing the concept and content of the young audience's performance, I began to think about the most effective delivered method, and discussion on the application of technology began. As you can see from the project progress, I believe that when developing content for children, technology is not a priority, but first understand their stage of development and find a suitable method. In my view, technology should be a tool that can draw children's creativity and imagination. The last page summarized some thoughts to refer to when applying technology to content aimed at a younger audience. In conclusion, at the meeting of rapidly developing technology and arts, consideration for human beings who use technology should be given priority. It may sound boring, but I believe we should approach the use of technology carefully, especially when developing content for children. I sincerely appreciate your attention today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yoon-kyung. Should we move on to Sigrid, your presentation?
Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. My name is Sigrid, and I work as a manager for Transiteater Bergen. I'm here to tell a little bit about our current project today. It is called 030838, State of Emergency. I'm going to share my screen. Sorry about that. I think, can we start with the video?
Nå ser det altså ut som dette en terroraksjon. Hva tenker du om det?
Ja, dette nok en terroraksjon, og det ikke bare en liten aksjon som vi har sett mange av I mange land. Dette en enorm bombe. Den må ha krevd mye organisering. Det må være store ressurser som står bak.
Til slutt, Stoltenberg, Arbeiderpartiet, eller AUF, har da sitt store arrangement på Utøya. Det gjort noe der med sikkerheten, eller noen betraktninger? Vi får nå også meldinger om en alvorlig situasjon der, slik at det kan vi komme tilbake til, og politiet kan informere om det om kort tid, at det også en kritisk situasjon på Utøya. Akkurat.
Thank you so much. This performance can be categorized as a music theater, and it is a reconstruction of an afternoon in Norway on the 22nd of July 2011. This day is the date of the worst terror attack in Norway in modern time, where a right-wing blew up governmental building and after this executed a Democrat on a summer camp just outside of Norway. So it's maybe a bit difficult to see in the video, but this performance actually premiered in 3 cities on the same time. So it is partly musicians, sketch artists and filmmakers that are situated in different cities together with audience, and then are montating the performance into one whole piece. It is not streamed theater because neither of the rooms are outside the actual theater space, but all together they are joining into the final composition of the performance. I will show you some picture because the performance is quite low tech. It is sketch artists and musicians that are all together putting up this show in a small model on the different locations. And what we are trying to do is to challenge the theaters kind of here and now. The theater is known for being relevant by sharing this situation, the audience and the performance together, to be here and now together, and this is only happening once. Tonight we are live streaming this performance from Oslo, and we are inviting you to join in on our webpage to see the performance. Yes, I think that was the end of my presentation. So, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sigrid. Let's hear one more from Tech, and then we will move on to the next 3.
Yep. Hi, everyone. First of all, I'm really so glad to participate in this salon meeting. Can you play the video that I was sending for? This is Hanjo music, authentic form, and played by traditional drums. Also played in North Korea as well, a little bit more modernized way. Trying to keep the authentic form in a different bowl of drums. trying to make a music recording for this methodology as well. Try to distribute this as a broadcasting form like this. Little bit application for this duo art form as a temporary setting. Hello everyone, I'm back. First of all, I think I should be a fundamentalist today. I want to talk about some abstract or fundamentalistic issue today. Let me share my PDF file now. Okay, so let me start from this point. 악기, which means musical instrument in Korean language, basically means a musical ball rather than instrument or tool. So receiving a motivation from this vocabulary, I would like to interpret the extended meaning of new media or technologies surrounding us. So I like to interpret the technology as a new musical instrument. At this point, I like to define the technology or the bowl to put or store the arts itself in it. So let me start today's presentation from this point. Okay, so the function of technology, non-face-to-face contact circumstance. I actually, to mention the related issues of art and technology, I like to point out some problems engaging to that. So the typical form used to be defined as a exotic music performance with visual collaboration as a theater program. These are really great forms already. But I like to point out two issues, probably defects. Actually, this typical situation makes us to feel pressure to apply some of new technology we've never seen before in the name of creativity. And also makes us to be chained in the cage of theater art form, even it is kind of deviation from the generated original cultural context. Therefore, I was trying to approach a different perspective. So concentrating this face-to-face contact circumstance, just like this conference meeting, this salon meeting, I wish to suggest that we could have a reflexive moment to think about the meaning or semantics of interaction or interactive arts in the remote producing situation with different angle. So I would like to suggest some reflexive moment. So I would like to suggest to explore the meaning of storing the performing art contents and sending it as a digital form. Also, could be a great progress already. So probably if we are also recording music or performing art, but it was kind of a tape of media, then probably we couldn't imagine this kind of thing one generation ago. So the second issue, how to put non-Western theater for performing art, and also in what kind of bowl, what kind of methodology as well. So Actually, in my case, I was concentrating upon folklore musics or performing art in broad meaning, and a soundscape or ethnography of natures as well. So let myself summarize this topic really shortly. I want to have a title as Back to the Basic. As we are hearing the news recently, I hear the news is like some really big cities, nature is being recovered, its function from extreme pollutions, because we are stopping sometimes. I wish upon this break, we could have a deep breath, taking time to step for the next step. So also I wish we could have a little moment to have a looking back at the resources we have already. In my case, it is kind of folk music cultures and soundscape of nature itself. How happy we are already in that sense. So finishing my presentation, I think I have to be called as a fundamentalist or reductionist at this point at today's meeting. I wish we could have a considering moment upon the semantics or meanings of rebowling art, recording art, and the meaning of rearrange, recompose, or even how to react, and also how to represent the art, and how to reflect, and also even including education of art, how to reproduce all the art resources we have already. In my case, I want to emphasize such as folk music and folk performing art, including nature soundscape. Maybe I can finish my presentation at this point, and I wish I could have much more specific and concrete proceeding for the next meeting. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much for Yoongyang, Sigrid, and Tech for sharing your projects. They're all very highly inspiring. And it's very impressive that all of these approaches are so diverse in bringing in technology. Also, one thing I noticed was that in your reflection, technology is more considered as a medium or a container or bowl, as Tech described, rather than taking technology as something, as a tool to create a spectacle or both new technological advancements. So I think that's one issue that we could come back to later in the discussions. And another issue shared, I noticed, was probably to think about what technology, the role of technology in art, especially in the times when art can inevitably have to be mediated through technology because of the current situation we are faced in through a remote distance. Anyway, we will come back to these issues in our group discussion, and let's hear a little bit more from our other artists, Anna, and Between Music, and Ina. And by the way, Sigrid will present in place of Between Music. So Anna, you're welcome to start.
Okay, 안녕하세요. I'm Anna-Karin Brus from Sweden, and I'm now going to take you into my practice of art. First of all, I'm going to show you an old piece that I made. See, maybe you can, I will share my screen first. Okay, sorry about that. Oops. So here's an image from a performance that I made in the International Electronic Music Festival in Uppsala in 2016. It's called Me, Myself and I, and it's I have set contact microphones on the backside of big metal sheets that were picking up the sound of me painting and also singing. And maybe we can show a piece of the video that I sent you. Okay, so what you saw was me painting, and the images on the screen was stolen selfies. I often work in collage method, both in sound and music and art. So now I'm going to show you my latest project, which is the evolution of things. You know, in biology, they say that an environmental and heredity is actually shapes the biological being. But I want to make the sound like the environment and the visuals as the heredity, and use technology to shape new art. So these are my favorite instruments. I have field recordings and also instruments and electronic devices. And then I also paint and make collage and use photography and video. And now I'm programming with PD, Pure Data program for music making, to also make me able to steer the visuals with the input of sound. So I don't know, maybe it works. I can show you what I think will be the outcome of this. So yes, that's the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anna. Sigrid, can you introduce us a little bit about Between Music?
For sure, I can. I will start with sending a regards from Leila, which is in an area working on a new project totally without internet, so she couldn't do the presentation. But I have a small video with some material from this new project, and a couple of slides I would like to show to you here on this screen. The project Between Music has worked over a decade with an underwater project where they play music underwater. And now this project is about to be a record. And to make a record with underwater music, it has to be mixed in the same way as ordinary album will, with some kind of reverb. But Leila would like to make it more authentic and to have reverb from the underwater. So this is the new project. We are collaborating with different artists from the Nordic, and it's going to be an exhibition of work presented by artists from the North and how they connect to the ocean and to the sea. And I think maybe we can show this small video now.
I Between Musics DNA, der ligger der en konstant søgen efter nye kunstneriske udtryk. Og i den søgen, der havner vi ofte i nogle situationer, hvor at det vi leder efter, det simpelthen ikke findes. Og derfor så er det så vigtigt, det er fuldstændig essentielt for vores arbejde, at vi kan samarbejde tæt med forskere, der er dykket ned i noget meget specifik viden, eller med virksomheder, der udvikler og arbejder med den nyeste teknologi.
Mitt fokus er lyd under vandet, så jeg arbejder med, hvordan dyr kommunikerer under vandet med hjælp af lyde, og også hvordan de kan finde føde gennem at sende ud signaler og lytte efter de ekkoer, som kommer tilbage, ligesom flammes gør om natten.
Lige nu så er vi ved at optage aquasonic-musikken, og for at forstærke den her lyd under vand, så er vi gået i gang med et helt nyt projekt. Og det er nemlig, at vi vil optage undervandsrumklang, undervandslyd, som vi så mixer ind i musikken.
Vi arbejder sammen med Between Music i det her projekt, for at vi synes, det er rigtig vigtigt, at vi som forskere kan få hjælp af kunstnere til at få andre mennesker til at bedre forstå, hvor vigtigt det er at have fokus på havmiljøet.
Det er blevet til et stort projekt, hvor vi rejser ud i de nordiske vande for at opsamle forskellige rumklange, alt efter om det er i nærheden af klipper, eller gletsjer eller sandstrand.
Yes, I'm sorry that this was in Danish language. I hope you could read the subtitles. The project is about connecting with other, to connect art and science and new technology, and to kind of learn from each other. This project will premiere in Nuuk in Greenland in October 2021. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sigrid, for sharing the project and place of Between Music. And last but not least, we hand over the floor to Ina. Could you tell us a little bit about your projects?
Hi, I'm Ina Tajonlahti and I'm based in Helsinki, Finland. Now I'm here in Cottage in East Finland, and I have also lived in Beijing, so I know a bit Asian culture. I could now share my screen. Yes. So I work as an independent dance artist. I combine dance art and new technology. And what kind of agency technology can have, and what kind of hybrids corporality and technology develop, they are my main questions. And for example, I have created a dance workshop and performance with the humanoid robot. And my strongest abilities are in corporality. So I'm not programming by myself, but I have had the privilege to collaborate with those people who can. And at the moment, I'm interested in costume and sound as a body extension and the concept of transhumanism. Yes. And I am also a member of Eco Collective, and we are a group of artists, designers, and technology professionals. And we are specific in immersive experiences. Not going so much on that now. And my artistic questions, I work from the post-humanistic approaches, how to weaken the human-centric perspective, and how to explore the agency of the technology. And human and technology, they are constituting an assemblage when they are affecting to each others. And assemblage can be seen as a network, like a structure where all the components interact and create also random processes alongside the planet processes. Perception, the web of scores, system score, they are my practices on how I explore the concept of assemblage and also the technology's own agency. So different perception practices, they have helped me to see the specific of the technology own agency. And the web of score is a network of various compositional systems, and one score can provide to the dancer guidelines regarding thinking, movement, use of space, and sound. And then system score is working like an algorithm, so it refers to the system theory. So one unit activates another unit, and then again activates the third unit, and so on until the whole system is activated. And both score structures, they can contain several different instructions. So the complete control of the choreography is not possible anymore. And I see that's really interesting because traditionally the work of the choreographer is to organize and also control things. And I will show now a couple of examples. The first one is a work in process performance at Zodiac, the Center for New Dance. A couple of weeks ago, we did this one. And the audience could command the robot by the text messages, and choreography is based on system score. And musician Annina Antinranta is playing Soma ether anti-radio, which makes possible to make sound from electromagnetic fields. Can I have the video now? Thank you. And then I have another example. It's Ballet 1010 work, and the trio, it's a trio for the dancer, for the robot ball, and the robot vacuum cleaner. And perception practice has been here in the background, and then I have been starting to mimicking the devices and trying to find their special features. Can I see the video? And then I'm going to ask to the question. Yes, you can see the idea. Why technology? My aim or ethos as an artist, it's inclusivity and transparency. So I'm aiming that everyone could have access to technology, how it is constructed and how technology will be used in the future. As an artist, I avoid building spectacles with the technology, or if I play with that element, I want to reveal to the audience how the work is done. Thank you for your time and focus.
Thank you for all 6 artists who have shared your very inspiring projects. I think the last 3 projects that we just saw bring in technology in a more active and concrete way, which is also very interesting. And yet they also touch on the issues of technology in today's society, surrounding issues of evolution, post-human discourses, and ecology, and so forth. So I feel these projects are very pertinent and really pushes us to reflect on what it means to use technology in art today. So I think which naturally brings us to our discussions as a next step. So all in all, for me, it was quite interesting, as some of you have already pointed out, that technology is, after all, not a completely new thing. When we think of technology, we automatically think of these shining metal, silver, flashy kind of events. But in fact, etymologically speaking, technology is simply a skill that humans have used and continues to use to interact and to deal with the environment. And Czech also mentioned that technology is really a bowl or a container. So taking this into account, perhaps it would be more interesting to talk about what art or the human creativity can do for the society when it takes technology as a medium, rather than considering technology as a goal to reach or a spectacle to achieve. So my question for all 6 of you, whoever is ready can be happy to share. As an artist, what kind of potential do you see in technology that lets us really interact and reflect the society and the world we live in today? Sigrid, please.
Well, it is a great question. I don't know if I can answer it, but I will try to take a small example from this work, State of Emergency, which is the artist behind this project has kind of investigated state of emergency as a phenomena for years. And this performance about this crucial event in Norway is quite different from other films or theater projects about this event, because it's telling the story from the media side, from the broadcasting on the radio and from the social media. And by using these kind of everyday life tools that we can all access, when technology kind of got democratized and we could all broadcast from our home, we got another way to telling the story. So I think it's like when we think about 9/11, or when we think about the terror attack in Paris, when everybody was kind of posting "Je suis Charlie" on their Facebook, we all kind of got to be in this event, even if we wasn't there. So yeah, I think that everyday technology can also be, even if it's like regular, not very shiny, but it can be an important tool for develop the art.
Thank you so much. I think you also mentioned in your presentation that your works are low tech, which I think is not really the issue here, whether you are using high tech or low tech, but that by using or bringing in technology, that it lets us see something that we couldn't see, or that we can have an opportunity to think about the world we live in. So I think it's a very important point that you just mentioned. Yes, please, Anna.
Yes, I was thinking along like you just said, with a new technology brings, it's like you get a new language. So with a new language, you can express other things. So mainly for me, I think technology is it's just a mean to express something that is not possible to express with another in another way. So yeah, and also the new technology, like with computer, and you can also bring in an element of chaos, and that could mimic like natural processes in the nature also. So it's kind of interesting to give away a little of your creation to chaos, I think. It is also possible when you paint, but it's in another way.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your comment. I think in Yoongyang, your presentation, you mentioned how technology can be also something for the children, which in turn makes me a bit wonder, because the children these days are so accustomed to technology. Maybe the way you use art and technology can provide them a different perspective to it, you know, like compared to all the YouTube or the videos that we see in everyday lives. Can you maybe add a little bit for what it means for arts that use technology for children?
As you say, technology is not new anymore in rapidly developing technology. Compared to my childhood, just like 20 or 30 years ago, today's children live as digital native in a digital environment. So like in Korea, for example, education program using technology for children are overflowing now. And so technology will be a means of expressing us, just as we have been drawn with dirt or paint for like thousands of years. So I think for children, technology was an enormous potential as a tool to express themselves, their creativity that was not possible before.
Thank you very much for your comment. I'm sure at this point, maybe someone would think, are we not glorifying technology somehow so far in our discussions, which I don't think is the aim of our discussion. Technology is not really a binary thing that can be glorified or completely criticized or to be afraid of. And I think in Ina, your projects, these mixed feelings coexist somehow, that it's not a bad thing, that it's not a good thing, and that you really touch on all sorts of approaches and aspects to it. What is your view on the potential or the danger of technology in art, or that art can reveal?
Well, I see that as an artist, my task is also reflect the values and ethics of technology, and in that sense, like to bring those questions, I think people should more think about and be aware, like how they are using technology or how technology is part of our environment nowadays. And that has been really important thing in my works, and also I think it's really important to see those things that we are also reflecting a lot of our fears and hopes towards technology. And usually I can see that when people are giving feedback to my performances, that they are kind of reflecting their own, what they really think about the technology. Like some people, they have really dystopian thoughts, and some people are more in this hype, like technology hype. And I think that's really interesting also. And also I have been working with the children, like the humanoid robot. We were having workshops and performances to the children, and it was really interesting to hear like their comments, because I feel they have more this awareness. They were asking like, what is the gender of the robot, and like are the robots taking the control in the future, and these kind of questions the adults never ask these kind of things.
Actually, this is very interesting comment that you said, because in another project that I was involved in, we discovered how robots, we think of them as very neutral, but and mechanic, but already in themselves by the voices, whether the robot is taking a female voice or a male voice, and the kind of tasks given to the male voiced robots and the female voiced robots, that there's already a distinction and a sort of also a discrimination. And all of these are ethical values or are judgments already reflected in using these technologies. So I think it's, and children are very, very keen on catching these points, I think. So it's a very interesting project. I think before we move on to a question that came from the audience, I would just like to check also the floor, because I was when listening to your presentation, I was also very inspired, because you bring in traditional music, which we often don't really connect with new high technologies, and you actually consider it as a whole, like technology as a whole. Can you introduce a little bit more about the concrete ways you use technology in your projects?
Oh, actually, I am planning to mix this Sanjo music with the other soundscape or some of the resources from other culture. So I want to have a little bit progress on that. So I'm just trying to build the basis for that for now. So today I couldn't be really much more specific, couldn't have specific explanation, but concluding this, rather than that, I would like to mention a sort of little bit serious issue, such as asymmetric situation of performing art distribution or access to performing arts forms, with a little bit lighter metaphor. Actually, there was great and beautiful performing art out there already. If we could call this as a nice 5-star hotel buffet, it was there already. But now through the technology, I think we can offer room service. As a metaphor of room service, I want to explain that way. So extension of theater form, which reflects classical and authenticity of performing art. Maybe at this moment, I wish technology could help us to have much more diverse bowls for covering diverse cultural background as well. So I would like to conclude as this way.
Which I must say is a perfect comment for the next question that came from the audience, which is very brilliant. Some Q Che asks whether you could introduce, especially the participants coming from the Nordic countries, whether there are any creative cases where technology can facilitate a more inclusive approaches in the field of arts and disability. So I think, Ian, also you mentioned in your presentation that technology should make art, or I mean, maybe it's a little bit of a different stance, but that technology should be transparent and easy to access. And perhaps in today's society, in the situation that we are situated right now, maybe technology is, as you mentioned, tech, a way that brings in more audiences in various fields of people into the field of arts. Could you maybe give some creative cases how technology was used to achieve these goals in your countries?
Well, at least some of my works has been inclusive in that sense that many of the people here haven't really faced the social robots, and we had this like open workshops and performances to the people here in Helsinki, and everyone could access, and they were free also. And also we did this immersive installation to the Finnish National Opera, and maybe a typical opera visitor hasn't faced artificial intelligence. So in that case, like he or she could like see how the AI is working. And these kind of like examples are maybe bringing this technology more closer to the normal peoples, that not only the people who can program have the access and understanding how the technology is working. But of course, it's a huge question, and maybe all of the people who are working with the technology or like the artists, they are not thinking about it. And maybe these spectacles are making also this dystopian thoughts about like the robots will take over because the technology is already so developed, even it's not. And I think this is also a good question to a little bit reflect.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Maybe Anna or Sigrid? Do you know of any cases where technology was used these days to bring in more audiences, for instance, disabled people or people who didn't have access to the theater before?
No, I actually don't have an example of exactly that, but I have also thought I've worked with young people with neurological disabilities, and they some of them have more easy to interact with a computer. So I think that could be really something to explore. And I also I wanted to make an cooperation also across the continents, like before the corona pandemic hit. I was planning like to have a musician from the other side of the world and to improvise music together with an artist in Sweden, and then you stream to each other the pictures there and the music here. But then it seemed like the pandemic hit, and now everyone is like streaming concerts from all over they are all in different places. So it seems like I think that the pandemic will have some effects on how you share and experience art in the future, really. I think so.
Great. If Sigrid, if you don't have anything to comment further, or
I can just
I think we're losing you a bit with the internet.
I can just add a small story from between music. Leila told. I think my connection is a bit unstable, so I will save the story to another time.
Yes, hopefully we have another session where we can hear more from you. Thank you very much, though. So I think it's time for us to wrap up today's discussion. It seems quite clear that it's a very complicated situation that we are in at the moment, but which also opens up completely new possibilities in art through technology in the times that we are living in at the moment. And also from your presentations, we could see that art really provides an important arena where different perspectives, attitudes, and practices can be shared through technology. Well, and I'm very curious